So imagine a world where all these specialized AIs, one that's a genius with language, another that can analyze medical scans, maybe a third that's a wizard of financial modeling. What if they could all just team up? Well, today we're going to dive into how that's already happening. We're talking about something called agent-to-agent communication, which is basically how AIs join forces to solve problems that would be absolutely impossible for any single one to handle on its own.
But hang on, before we see how they team up, we really have to get why they need to in the first place. See, a single isolated AI, no matter how powerful it is, runs into what we're calling the lonely agent problem. You've definitely been there, right? You're chatting with an automated support bot, you ask a totally normal question like, hey, is the new smartphone in stock? And bam, you get that classic, I'm sorry, I can't help with that. The conversation just grinds to a halt. So why? Why does that happen? Well, that bot failed for a really simple reason. It just can't know everything. To be great at conversations, it has to specialize, but that specialization creates this little bubble, this knowledge silo. It becomes an expert at talking, sure, but it's completely blind to what's actually happening over in the company's inventory system. And as these systems get bigger, this problem just blows up. You need agents to specialize, but they're useless if they can't collaborate. The real kicker? They're often built by totally different teams, maybe even different companies, using completely different programming languages like Python and Java. I mean, it's basically a recipe for chaos. So how in the world do you get all these different agents to talk to each other? You can't just plug them into each other and hope for the best. Nope. What you need is a common language, kind of like a universal translator for AI that they can all understand and agree on. And that solution is a protocol called Agent2Agent, or just A2A. Think of it as that universal language. It's a standardized set of rules that lets any two AIs on a network communicate and coordinate their actions. It's the digital handshake that makes all this teamwork possible. A2A basically gives these agents a set of superpowers. Seriously, they can talk to each other across networks, even if they're in different data centers. They can borrow each other's skills, using another agent like a specialized tool. And the best part? It works no matter what programming language they're written in, all because they use these formal contracts that spell out exactly what they can do. And that formal contract has a really cool name, the agent card. It's literally a digital business card. It's just a simple file that says, hey there, I'm the product catalog agent. I'm really good at looking at product details. Here's a list of my skills, and here's how you can call me to get some work done. It's the key that unlocks all this formal, reliable collaboration. Okay, theory is great and all, but let's actually see how this plays out in a real-world scenario. Let's take an online store's customer support system. So in our story, we've got two main characters. First up, our hero, the customer support agent. Its one and only job is to be that friendly, helpful voice for the customer. Then we have the expert, the product catalog agent. This agent is a total specialist. It knows every single tiny detail about every product, but it never, ever talks to customers directly. And here's the little dance they do together. A customer asks about that new smartphone. Our support agent instantly knows, hey, I don't have inventory data. So he uses A2A to make a call to the product catalog agent. The expert zips off, looks up the data, sends it right back, and boom, our hero delivers a perfect, complete answer to the customer. It's just seamless teamwork. Now, the real magic here is that from the support agent's point of view, this whole thing felt like an internal task. It had no clue that the other agent was on a different server or written in a different language, or maybe even owned by a totally different company. The A2A protocol made that collaboration feel completely local. Okay, but this brings up a really important question. A2A sounds powerful, for sure, but it also sounds, well, a bit more complicated than just writing one giant program. So when do you actually need to make this formal external call for help instead of just handling a task internally? Well, here's a really simple way to think about it. An A2A call is like making a phone call to another company. You do it for agents that are separate, maybe remote, or owned by someone else. An internal task, on the other hand, is like turning to your colleague in the cubicle next to you. It's for stuff that's all part of your own system, managed by your own team. So this basically gives us a clear little cheat sheet. You go with A2A whenever you have to cross boundaries. We're talking different teams, different machines, or even different programming languages. But if everything is part of the same system, built by your team, a simpler internal approach is way better. A2A is for when you need that formal, robust contract between truly separate services. Now, it's really important to get that this e-commerce example isn't just some neat little trick. This pattern of collaboration,
It's the architectural blueprint that makes most of the modern complex software systems we use every day even possible.
And this model gives you 4 huge benefits. First, it's transparent, which makes things simple. The main agent has no idea how the expert works. Second, it's standardized, so any compatible agent can just plug in and play. That makes integration super easy. And finally, it creates this beautiful separation of tasks, letting each agent just focus on what it does best. That makes the whole system stronger and way easier to manage.
And this isn't just theory. This is why all this stuff matters. This pattern is the backbone of what we call a microservices architecture. It's exactly how you integrate third-party tools from vendors for things like processing your payments or calculating shipping costs. It allows a system written in Python to work perfectly with a tool written in Java. And it lets specialized teams just focus on their own little world without having to be experts in everything else. And that brings us to the final thought for today. We've just seen how two agents can team up to solve a pretty simple problem, but what happens when you scale this idea way up? What becomes possible when every specialized AI in the world, from medical diagnosis to financial analysis to logistics, can all collaborate seamlessly, sharing their unique skills and knowledge? I mean, the potential there is just absolutely staggering.